Hey folks, Pallet here, back with another Minecraft video. Let's just jump right into it. I've got a few additions that I've been working on for my village the last few days that I'm kind of excited to share today. One of them is not really the prettiest thing, and we can see that right here. It's functional, just not necessarily elegant. Um, this is a tree farm, and I would demonstrate, but it makes a lot of racket when I turn it on. So it has a setting option down here, and there's another setting up top that we would have to climb up to adjust for certain plants. But for the most part, you put saplings in your left hand, bone meal in your right. When we come up here, and we've actually turned the whole thing on, we've got a dispenser right here that will drop extra bone meal. So as we stand here and we're continually planting and growing trees, we'll replenish our bone meal. Then there's another switch that turns on a TNT duplicator way up top, and will drop that TNT down to blow up the tree. Of course, everything that blows up falls down into the water, gets dropped here into the middle through a little water channel, and eventually drops out into these hoppers and into the chests. It works pretty well. It does not take long at all to build up a nice little supply of wood, and this was designed by Ian Exo4 that I found that was relatively compact. It goes up, it does have some verticality to it, it kind of stands out, but as far as just the square footage on the ground, it doesn't take up a lot of space, and it also did not require a lot of redstone. I have seen some of these that have a lot of, pistons moving things and a bit fancier redstone going on, but I really wasn't looking for something fancy. I was looking for something easy that I could operate quickly when I needed to, and just not really have to worry about troubleshooting a lot of circuitry. So, up here we can see we've got this other lever that I mentioned that allows you to do some of the larger trees. And then up here is the TNT duplication. Just kind of barely see the TNT in there. This is the TNT duplication circuit up here. So once we trigger that, and we can start it here quickly. I'm not going to let it run very long because, like I said, it is really loud. This is the main on-off switch. And we trigger that, and we will start to see some TNT dropping down. There it comes. And of course that TNT is impacting right on, well, right in line with some obsidian, so that it doesn't, just absolutely destroy whatever whatever we built the farm out of. That just provides a little bit of a shield. It also helps protect this dirt block so that when we're growing our trees, we don't have to worry about continually replacing the dirt. And overall, like I said, the farm runs really nicely. I was able to get, I think, 4 or 5 stacks of oak wood after running it just for a few minutes. Now, the next thing that I wanted to show you is a quick little addition I did up here, not too far away from the tree farm, but if you remember from a previous episode, one of my projects had been to get a Ravager up here in a pen, and I've got him safely tucked away with his little pet chicken. And just to be extra secure, I put a line of fences around here so that you can't get too close and get hit in case you do aggro him. Now, he shouldn't see you through all of the iron bars, the walls, and all that. But if, like, this gate were opened, something like that, he could possibly aggro, and this just helps maintain a little extra space. But that wasn't the only mob. We've got these guys tucked away in here. We've got the Ravager. Those weren't the only mobs that I wanted. I wanted to expand my little, my villain zoo up here a little bit. So I also built a small aquarium that we have a couple of drowned captured in. I've got a couple of sea pickles in places in there to provide a little bit of light. We've got a little bit of of coral in there. I probably need to get some seagrass, and we'll go ahead and take a look up top quickly. So, just in case they tried to swim up to the top and jump out, I wanted to make it a little more difficult. The chains don't make it impossible. You can still slip between them. It just makes it a little less likely that they would be able to get up and out of the water. But then I went ahead and put fence line up here so that even if they got out of the water, if they got up onto the top of the stone wall, they wouldn't actually be able to escape and cause any troubles. Then I'm sure you can hear our other visitor here. I managed to catch a witch. It was not easy. It resulted in one death and several close calls. We've got her in there with a bed and some water. I've debated putting a roof on just so we can be a little bit more humane. But I had been over on the far side of my village a couple of nights ago, over where the honey factory is, the honey farm. And as the sun set, I heard a cackle from the other side of the wall, and I thought, now's my chance. So I dropped a boat over there, managed to entice her to get into the boat while she was throwing splash poison bottles at me. And one of the beacons that I have here, you'll notice I've got kind of a multicolored beacon, provides extra regen. And my health was getting low enough, I wanted to get over there quickly and get my health built back up before the poison took it too low. And unfortunately, I just wasn't controlling my flight as well as I should, and I slammed right into one of the branches of my treehouse and left all of my stuff scattered over 3 or 4 different levels of that entire build. I was able to get it all back before it despawned. I was very happy about that. It just meant that I had to be a little bit more careful dealing with the witch as I transported her back. And I used a similar method to what I did for the Ravager, and I did the same thing for the Drowned over there, is that I took a lot of dirt and I built kind of a mini sky rail. Nothing quite on that scope, but just built a single line of dirt that went up over all of the trees and buildings and straight across, and then I just ran rails and powered rails along the whole thing. Managed to get the witch back over here without dying a second time, although it was a close thing, a couple of tries there. But yeah, much easier with the experience that I had with the Ravager, knowing how to get her boat loaded onto the minecart. Now, one of the things that's also been going on up here on the upper level of the village, I've gone over and kind of showed the inn in previous episodes, and right now you can see I have the inn door blocked. Once I had the inn in place, I wanted to get some villagers up here. And of course, all of my villagers, for the most part, are down in almost the furthest section of the village. If you can see the amethyst dome through there, that's where most of the villagers are. And I was wanting to get some up here to start populating this area. And of course, the majority of the beds on this section of town are upstairs in the inn. So I brought a couple of villagers up along this rail line. I got them inside. I persuaded them to go upstairs. I blocked off the door so they couldn't get out. And then I started tossing food at them so they would breed, make some baby villagers. And when I decided it was time to let them out and let them explore this area and maybe try to adopt a new workbench or a new bed, they had trouble navigating the stairs. The stairwell in there is partially surrounded with trapdoors, and they were having trouble navigating it. So I managed to get a few of them downstairs, had to block off that area so they wouldn't go back upstairs. And then the other day I managed to get a couple of them out the front door. And of course they kept wanting to go back inside because that's where their bed was. So in order to help with this whole population project up here, I built a nice little kind of bunkhouse to go along with the barn. And this one, I believe if we come back here, we will see this was by Shiranam. It was the house portion of a tutorial that they built that was overall kind of a small farm plot. And I did a couple of things differently. I modified just a very few things, but you notice we got a little windmill up there. We've got some nice decorations on the outside. I did not add the farm plot here because, like I said, I was intending this to be more of a bunkhouse for people that might eventually work here in the barn. But we got a nice little trellis on the side. We got a little bit of hay stacked up there. And when we come inside, notice there's just, it's nothing super fancy. We've got plenty of storage in here. We've got 4 beds, so we could have plenty of villagers up here making their home. We've got a couple of little tables, some decorations, little paintings, things like that. Make it feel a little more home-like. We're going to take a quick rest here, see if we can get rid of the rain and advance into the daytime. But yeah, this I was really happy with how this turned out. It does not have a huge footprint, but it is very it's nice and compact. It's got plenty of beds in there so that once I breed up these villagers a little bit more, we'll be able to get a few people living here. Now, of course, one of the villagers that decided to make his home in this building then came back and got himself stuck in the pig pen. And I just haven't bothered trying to lure all the pigs away and escort him out, but that is something that we will take care of another time. So, those are the updates that I've had up here in the upper section of the village. There's one thing on the outside of the village I'm going to show you real quick that I don't believe I included in the last video. But you see, we have... That was a little more painful than I expected. We've got the road for the village completed all the way up to the bridge. And then we have connected it with a tunnel over here. And one of the things that I had just wanted to do for a little atmosphere was not to have steady lighting in here. We've got one steady one, but I wanted to have another light that just kind of randomly flickers so that even in the dark, you just get a little sense that maybe this area has been kind of neglected over the years. See if we can go up here for a moment. So it basically amounts to a hopper clock connected to a dispenser that is paired up with another hopper, and that dispenser has some stacked items and some unstackable items. And so every time it kind of switches back and forth, it just randomly tosses either a stacked or an unstacked item. It causes that circuit to flicker somewhat randomly. This came from a tutorial by Blends Gaming that I was able to adapt to using here in my tunnel. And again, you'll notice I do have one light that's on full time, just in case something goes wrong with this. We get maybe just a little longer of a flicker than I anticipate, or maybe the redstone circuit breaks for some reason. I didn't want this to be completely dark and start spawning mobs in, but I do like especially at night, I kind of like what it adds to it. It's just, yeah, a nice little extra aesthetic thing. So, that's everything here for the kind of the upper level. We're going to fly down here next to our hedge maze. And yes, you may have noticed that there's a beacon up there. I'm doing some mining work underground that I will show in another video. I just needed the extra mining speed that a beacon could give me. It makes that sort of project go so much faster. So, one of the things I've talked about in previous videos is that I have a difficult time, or at least I feel I have a difficult time, being really creative with my building designs. I've followed a lot of tutorials for the bulk of my village here. Some things I've built myself, um, but I always feel like I'm kind of at a disadvantage when I'm trying to come up with something on my own. So I'd had a thought a few weeks ago on a way that I could maybe exercise that creative muscle a bit. Did that sound weird? That sounded weird. We'll go with it. So, in order to exercise my creative muscle a little, what I did was I went to one of the new, relatively new AI image generator websites. In specific, I used the one from Bing, and I would toss in prompts like a Minecraft medieval alchemist shop, that sort of thing, and get a few pictures that I could use as reference for for the types of buildings that I might want to put in here. Eh, And of course, when you ask an AI image generator to come up with something like that, it does it kind of in the style, but it's not a tutorial. It doesn't really break it down into blocks. And if you've played around with AI image generation, you know that sometimes those pictures look a little impossible. The AI seems to take a page out of MC Escher's book sometimes, and you see things that just don't connect in the way they actually would in the game. But it does give a good foundation to start with learning some building techniques, or at least implementing some building techniques. And this was one of the ones I did. This is my Alchemist lab. And we'll take a look around the outside first. Notice we have kind of a central room with patios on both sides. We've got an upper floor, and the upper floor extends to one side, but, well, the other side is really kind of just the staircase. We've got a room on one that goes out a lot more developed than this side. So it's not perfectly symmetrical. I've got a couple of planters out here. We've got some netherwort. We've got a little wither rose. Around the back, I've added a bit of a vat, or technically these are honey blocks that are in here, but it could be whatever reagent the alchemist needs a lot of. And then it goes up through a pipe and into the building where he has easy access to that. We do have a little chorus plant garden back here. We've got a small garden here that actually extends to the interior of the building, and then a few more plots with just some odd little plants that may not be as common around here. Now we're going to step inside. You'll see here on the shelf, I've done a little bit of work with the armor stand statue mod so that we can have potions out on display. I have also added a stack of books here, which is a custom player head that I was able to bring in. And we've got our brewing stand complete with a stock of some potions here. And I think, yeah, over here we've got our water. And in here is where we were keeping our reagents. I used most of the reagents in making our vending stock. But here we go. We've got our little garden so that it's easy to harvest a few of these if the alchemist needs. We're going to go down to the basement first. Down in the basement, you'll notice we've got a little mushroom farm growing. And in fact, I've put a light switch down here so that if you need to see a little bit better what you're doing while you're harvesting those, you can do so. And we can turn it back off and let them have a little bit of cool dark to grow in. Now we're going to come back upstairs, and we are going up to the upper floor. Now you notice this is just a nice little stained glass window looking out. This was an idea that I got from B-Dubs, watching one of his building videos. I don't know that I've implemented it the perfect way, but one of the ideas that he had was for stained glass, instead of actually using stained glass, to use glazed terracotta with a glow lichen on top of it. And from a distance, it just kind of gives you that Baroque stained glass effect, which I do like from a distance. Up close, you can see that the edges are kind of just hanging out there, but from a distance, especially as you approach the building, I think it looks really cool. Now, this was one of the other things that I wanted to make sure I had room for in here. And unfortunately, I didn't really plan the upper floor around it. I planned the upper floor, I got everything built, and then I found a tutorial for some automated potion machines. And in fact, we'll come back here and give credit where it's due. This was from the Simple Auto Potion Brewer by Cortezarino. A very easy tutorial to follow, not terribly redstone heavy. It does have a nice little redstone circuit here, but it's tileable, so if I had a much larger area here, I could have one for every type of potion if I really wanted to. If we look up here, we've got dispensers, or sorry, droppers. In the top one, we've got nether wart. In the second one, we've got redstone dust. And in the bottom one, we've got, in this one, it's magma cream. The bottom one is the reagent that really determines what type of potion these machines are going to create. So here we've got potions of fire resistance, and over here we've got potion of night vision. And all you have to do to start the whole process is hit that button. It automatically fills in the brewing stand with water bottles from here. It also replenishes the blaze powder from there, and then it pulls the nether wart first. And once it has completely brewed the nether wart, then it pulls from the bottom and grabs the magma cream. And then when it's done with that, it goes to the middle and it pulls the redstone dust. So we wind up with 8-minute potions of fire resistance. There are a lot of potions that I don't need on a regular basis. Since I have a blaze farm in the nether, I thought having a good supply of fire res potions would be kind of essential, just for getting there without, getting too hurt. And then the night vision potions come in really handy when we are trying to find ancient cities, or when we are exploring down underwater. Those just they come in so handy, being able to see just a little bit further, see a lot more detail of what's around you. And that is finished. It's uh, it's just a nice, quick, automated way of getting those done. Making potions really isn't difficult, but it can take a little bit of time of sitting here, waiting for one to finish, toss in the next reagent, wait for it to finish, come back and check on it. Sometimes I kind of just forgot what order I was doing things in, and I'd have to double check. This just takes a lot of that off of my hands, and when I need those, I can come get them. And then finally, the Alchemist has just a little bedroom in here, nothing really exciting about it. I figured that the lore of my village here is that he is probably more interested in his research, in his potion making, in his gardening, than he is in the creature comforts of all the nice little things that he could have in the bedroom. So that is our Alchemist house. And that is that's probably the first building that I did that was based off of an AI generated image. And then I actually had to lay out the building plan and make something that worked and that I liked the look of in game. So one other, I don't know if the audio will pick this up or not, but under the path, I have put some amethyst blocks. And I'm going to stop talking. Let's see if we can hear this. Amethyst blocks make just such a nice, peaceful chiming sound when you walk over them. It's if you're busy doing something, if you're not really paying attention, it can be really easy to miss. But I wanted the approach to the Alchemist shop to have a sort of mystic quality to it. And I haven't completed this yet. This path is going to continue on this direction and kind of off towards the tree house, which we can just barely see. Um, uh, the amethyst isn't going to go all that way, but I want it to go to where this joins up with a main path later on, so that as people walk up to the alchemist house, they know they're walking into something that's just a little out of the ordinary. Now, next to the alchemist house, I also wanted to have what I thought of as an herbalist's hut. And this was another one that I grabbed an AI image. I just made a very simple prompt. I didn't get into anything really complex, but I liked the kind of the double peaked roof here, and the fact that we had this really nice kind of covered porch on the front. And you see, I've added a few little plants out here that the herbalist could be taking care of. We walk in and we've got workbenches where they're doing their repotting or their cuttings. We've got a small research station here with some more books and plenty of storage. Again, a nice little no frills bedroom. Nothing too fancy there. And then up here in the attic, we've got a couple more beds for the shop assistants. Oh, you didn't see that. They only experiment with plants in this building. Going to have to talk to the cleaners about that. And of course, a few more benches or another bench here for them to work. And looks like they actually may have killed a plant. And a little bit of storage, a few books. This would be kind of where, in my mind, where the apprentices would live. We would have the herbalist apprentices that work up here on their kind of beginner projects, on maybe potting saplings or things like that, while down here is where the master herbalist works and can actually meet with customers, that sort of thing. Not so much a shop, but just the place that you know you can come when you need some help with your plants. And we've got a little bit of vine growing down over everything. And then a few wild rose plants out here, which actually were here to begin with. I didn't have to add those, but... And it just comes right up to the hillside. So overall, I think I was happiest with the Alchemist shop and house, but I'm not really disappointed in this one. I like how it turned out. I had a little bit of trouble just kind of detailing the inside because I knew I didn't want it to be just a store with displays and things like that. I wanted it to be kind of an open work area, which leaves it a little nondescript in there. But overall, I think it works. And of course, we got a nice little wide bay window here looking in on the bedroom, so you can be creepy and stare at the herbalist while he sleeps. Now, one other thing, and this was my third experiment with following an AI generated image and kind of creating my own building from that. I've been thinking of this one as kind of a hedge witch's hut. This is made predominantly out of mushroom blocks. Got a nice little spruce roof there. And of course, we've got a jack-o'-lantern down here for some extra lighting. Uh, very, very small little hut. Not a whole lot going on in here, but we've got a moss roof. We've got some glowberries for light. Got a little bed here with some moss carpeting around it. Nice little kind of storage and work area. And then the witch is maybe thawing out her dinner. We don't ask questions about that. So overall, I'm really happy with how this section is developing. And I find that the AI imaging tool is kind of just helping me explore some building techniques and learn how to kind of do the custom detail design. It takes the heavy lifting off of me for just coming up with the room layouts and how many floors there are going to be, that sort of thing. Um, but it still allows me the freedom to kind of practice being creative and to add in my own touches to these buildings without just following a tutorial. I would love to be able to get away from using other people's ideas and come up with really wonderful detailed buildings all on my own. And I think I'm making some steps in that direction. I'm starting to learn a bit about how how to detail the interiors, the exteriors, how to add fun little things like the stained glass and all that. And so, yeah, I think I am. I'm learning a bit about how to exercise that creative muscle, and I'm kind of excited to see where that's going to go from here and see what else I will be able to learn to create on my own as I continue to build up our walled village here. So, everybody, thank you for joining me for this update. I really hope that you've enjoyed the additions that I've made here to our village, and I really appreciate you taking this journey with me and letting me share what I've been learning and what I've been creating, and I've just been having a lot of fun with this. If you have any questions, any suggestions, please go ahead and leave a comment down below. I'd love to hear from you. And I will see you guys in the next one. Bye.